There you go. Listen, when you're pastor, you always got the sound engineer looking at you like, what's you got the mic on mute, pastor. You got it on mute. That's just hilarious. But I'm really excited about today. I think we did some good work, and I think our goal on the front side of this thing was that we could maybe for a time put some biases aside and come up with some solutions. I think we got a good final report that's going to encompass all the thoughts and conversation and solid and that we've had. It's something that will actually be truthful and reflect what the commission stands for. As the chairman of the CPA Commission, I would like to announce the following. This is a public hearing to address the commission on any item on its agenda. Fill out the speaker form and submit your information to the clerk of court prior to the call of the agenda item. For you will not be given the opportunity, or you will not be given the opportunity to speak. Staff assistance is available if needed. Items for submission to the commission should also be handed to the clerk, Ms. Veronica L. Williams, who is seated to my left. When addressing the commission, state your name, title, and title for the official record. The 3-minute rule will be in effect. No debating. Confrontational statements will be allowed. The front row to my left is for the media only. Food and drinks are not allowed in the auditorium. And please silence your phones and electronic devices. So I've already stated my comments. Anybody else got any comments commission-wise? Y'all good. We're ready to get to work, right? So let me outline. Did everyone get the opportunity to read the draft that was emailed to you? Yes. No? Was the draft emailed? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I own that. My apology. Well, we'll read it together today. You got yours? I own that. Okay, that's what I thought, but nonetheless, I own it. My bad for not making it very clear. So what we'll do today is we'll read throughout the entire draft that's being submitted today to all of us, and but I want us to read from top to bottom. And so as we read through, if you have any questions, whatnot, if you'll just note that, then we can come back and visit that, and then. Maybe if you find need to make any kind of, we'll discuss it and take this thing up to a vote, if that's okay. Joseph, if you will do us the honors. I tell you what, Joe, just to break it up, because that's a lot of reading. Okay. I'll read the intro and then I'll read the final, right? And then you'll get that middle portion. Does that sound okay?
That's fine, no problem.
All right. Introduction. The Commission's charge and objective. It was with the greatest honor and commitment to integrity that we have endeavored to serve the purpose for which the Lafayette Parish Council has commissioned the City Parish Alignment Commission, CPAC. This document not only contains the answers to those questions as outlined in Parish Resolution number PR 007-2021, it contains the essence of goodwill, honorable decorum, and excellent wholesomeness of all the good people called Lafayette. Our charge and objective were to identify possible solutions to issues that might seem to impeding the smooth communication and collaboration of our existing government. We patiently and cohesively combed through the history of consolidation as well as its various challenges. We sought out and heard the best of credible testimony who brought nearly 150 years of collective professional experience to the table. We vetted the testimony and attempted to weigh the cost of every creative idea presented. We considered what might be the legal, physical, functional, and financial costs of any proposed solution. With all reasonableness, we looked at what might be the long and short-term ramifications of inaction as well as actionable items contained in this final report. Our hope is that you find this work to be a useful resource in whatever decisions lie ahead of you. Thank you to every presenter for generously giving of yourself and time. You were gracious, and invaluable to the process. Our special thanks to the Lafayette Consolidated Government Administration for granting us complete access to all of its resources. And finally, thank you to LCG Counsel staff, who has been indispensable in facilitating our work. And of course, that's you guys right there. Thank you so much. Joe, if you'll pick it from there.
Yes, sir. The commission responds to the resolution questions. Number one, as the parish governing authority, how can the Lafayette Parish Council best fulfill its responsibility to protect Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government tax dollars? The Commission believes that the Lafayette Parish Council would best fulfill its responsibility to protect Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government tax dollars by generally being good stewards of the funds, maximizing revenue streams, such as through the pursuit of block grants, pension savings, mutually beneficial investments that provide for greater leverage in securing state and federal funds, etc., and utilizing existing resources to strengthen transparency, such as through LCG's open checkbook tool. The Commission also recommends adopting strategies that include budgeting for LCG's operations and capital improvements by fund, as recommended by the Chief Financial Officer, Lori Toops, presenting the budget in a larger venue, and providing for expanded outreach when publicizing the budget process, which would build upon existing approaches and/or would develop new approaches to television, radio, print, and social media advisories on the budget, and prioritizing which governmental services are most needed and desired by Lafayette Parish residents. Number two, how can the Lafayette Parish Council, all of whose members have constituents in the city of Lafayette, best protect the interest of all of our Parish of Lafayette citizens? The Commission believes that the Lafayette Parish Council would best protect the interests of all Lafayette Parish citizens by prioritizing communication, which would be accomplished by remaining engaged with parish constituents, working with the City Council, and continuing to labor for the good of the entirety of Lafayette Parish. This would collectively amount to the Parish Council simply fulfilling its duty to the citizens of Lafayette Parish by opening and nurturing its lines of communications with citizens and focusing on effective communication within LCG. Number three, how can the Lafayette Parish Council best determine whether Lafayette Consolidated Government has fulfilled the purposes for which consolidation of the City of Lafayette and Parish of Lafayette was advocated in 1992 when it was voted on? The Commission believes that the Lafayette Parish Council can best determine whether LCG has fulfilled the purposes of consolidation as advocated for in 1992 by examining the successes of how LCG has been able to maximize revenue streams and opportunities and share costs as a greater force by being combined, which arguably has been achieved after 30 years. However, the Commission also recommends investigating how annexations have resulted and continue to result in the loss of critical revenue for Lafayette Parish. Number four, how can the Lafayette Parish Council best evaluate the system of administrative cost allocations to determine whether there is significant deviation from the actual division of work between the City of Lafayette and the Parish of Lafayette? The Commission believes that the Lafayette Parish Council can best evaluate the system of administrative cost allocations to determine whether there is significant deviation from the actual division of work between the city and the parish based on services rendered in the previous year. The Commission values the adoption of an annual resolution by the councils that approves allocation schedules ahead of the budget process, which would aid in the enhancement of tracking parish and city funds. The media distribution and, in turn, the public would be especially notified of the proposed resolution so that interested members of the public could review the proposed allocation schedules and provide input as desired. The Commission also emphasized LCG creating broader avenues for the public to track those funds within the budget that fall within an allocation formula, as well as for the public to be able to monitor related expenditures such as public works projects, legal matters, etc. Number five, are parish tax dollars being spent within the city limits of Lafayette? The Commission recognizes that parish dollars are and should be spent within the city limits of Lafayette. The City of Lafayette is part of the Parish of Lafayette. Roads, bridges, libraries, and other parish assets all have locations within the Lafayette city limits, and the Parish of Lafayette does and should support these services. Number 6, is consolidation fair to all taxpayers of the Parish of Lafayette? The Commission overall finds that consolidation has been mutually beneficial to both the city and the parish. The implementation of consolidation in Lafayette Parish will always have challenges of working with other municipalities on expenditure of parish millage funds, such as the drainage millage, roads and bridges millage, etc., recognizing that projects are based on priority funding. Number 7, what are the likely consequences of deconsolidation? The Commission believes that the likely consequences of deconsolidation include, but are not limited to, loss of revenue procured through the advantages of consolidation, such as grant opportunities, loss of established governmental efficiencies, increase in legal fees through the comparative process of divorce. Disruption of current structures will add enormous strains and setbacks on plans, projects, and progress. Morale implications on the citizenry, and economic marketability that benefit the consolidated city and parish would suffer. There is also concern that millage sources would have to be shared among the municipalities. Salary expenses would increase by adding additional management. The lines of fire protection would be blurred, and growth opportunity may suffer due to many corporate entities perceiving the city and the parish separately. Number 8, would a repeal of the Fix the Charter amendments and a return to a consolidated Lafayette City Parish Council better serve the interests of the people of the City of Lafayette and the Parish of Lafayette? The Commission has mixed opinions on whether a repeal of the Fix the Charter amendments and a return to a consolidated Lafayette City Parish Council would better serve the interests of the people of the City of Lafayette and the Parish of Lafayette. Notably, the council members serving on the commission believe that a separate city council and parish council is fair, though it was emphasized that the commission is not interested in deconsolidation. The commission does not believe that a repeal of Fix the Charter is the solution, and that adequate time needs to be allowed to build on strengthening the process for improvements to the current structure of government. Number 9, how can working relationships be improved between the Lafayette City Council, the Lafayette Parish Council, and the Lafayette Mayor President and Executive Branch of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government? The Commission believes that working relationships can be improved between the Lafayette City Council, the Lafayette Parish Council, and the Lafayette Mayor President and Executive Branch of Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government with patient and deliberate efforts to communicate with one another by implementation of generating a budget document by fund and scheduling budget meetings accordingly. The Joint Council preparing either an ordinance or memorandum of understanding addressing the clear delineation of city issues versus parish issues versus joint issues, adopting the cost allocation resolution, and sharing information and exploring options for enhancing communication between the councils and the administration. Number 10, the commissioners shall investigate and evaluate the findings and report of the Protect the City Committee. The commissioners' findings and takeaways from the PTC committee report include the primary concerns of seeking functional consolidation, deconsolidation, legal counsel for the city, for the Lafayette City Council, an elected police chief for the City of Lafayette, and separate City of Lafayette Mayor and Parish of Lafayette President positions.
The Commission's summary of findings and recommendations. Functional consolidation. The Commission deems that functional consolidation would not work, as supported by testimony from the CFO. The Commission feels that this approach would essentially amount to a version of deconsolidation and would engender dysfunction. Deconsolidation. The Commission does not recommend deconsolidation. Legal counsel. The commission recognizes that the Home Rule Charter provides for special legal counsel, but arbitration of any differences of opinions between LCG's counsel and special counsel would result in cost increases. Elected police chief. The commission received advice that an elected police chief position would result in more problems than conceived on the surface, but would be better suited for smaller communities. Mayor of the City of Lafayette, President of Lafayette Parish. The commission feels as though the combined position of mayor-president should be preserved for cost savings and greater efficiency. Separating the position between a mayor of the City of Lafayette and a president of Lafayette Parish would essentially amount to a form of deconsolidation, which the commission agrees is not the desired outcome. The commission acknowledges that an elected mayor for the City of Lafayette is an important issue to certain demographics within the city who have signaled this desire to the commission. However, there is not unanimous consensus among the commission on this matter. The commission has not seen or heard of evidence that representation is lacking with the combined mayor-president position. Adoption of annual allocation resolution. The commission supports and recommends the annual adoption of a joint resolution between the Lafayette City Council and the Lafayette Parish Council on the allocation schedule decided on by the Finance Committee and the LCG administration following a thorough review of all allocations. Budget reviews. The commission recommends reviewing the budget by fund as recommended by the CFO as opposed to departmental budgeting as a means for transparency in accounting for the appropriation of funds.
Final findings. So this is the summary collectively. This commission unanimously agrees deconsolidation is not the answer to improving our current form of government. It affirms that consolidation has mutually benefited both the city and the parish of Lafayette. It has maximized revenue procured through the advantages of consolidation, has effectively saved costs by streamlining government processes, and leveraged economic marketability, resulting in growth for all. We unanimously recommend the consideration of implementing of a joint allocation resolution, which would agree to allocation formulas prior to regularly scheduled budget reviews each year. We unanimously recommend budget scheduling be presented by fund rather than by department, and express desire. It has been clearly vocalized that there is an undetermined number of City of Lafayette residents who desire to have a greater influence over the electing process of Lafayette's mayor. A lack of democratic representation is the reason cited for this aspiration. While this commission has failed to obtain any example or instance where the City of Lafayette has lacked representation throughout its consolidated history, this demographic expresses a desire to separate the office of the Lafayette mayor from that of Lafayette Parish President. It says, the City of Lafayette needs and deserves this autonomy that is necessary to chart its own destiny, govern itself, and make decisions in the best interests of the city residents of Lafayette. The majority of this commission agrees this position to be of personal and political preference to an open approach to government, but does not carry merit in regards to the fair and effective functionality of our present form of consolidated government. A possible consideration. Should the time come that the population tables turn and the City of Lafayette no longer carries the majority of the population within the parish, a charter commission could be formed to explore equitable options allowing LCG to remain consolidated. One such consideration presented was that of requiring mayor-president candidates to carry both the city and the parish of Lafayette in order to win an election. The idea is taken from the same process which was utilized in 1992 election, creating our consolidated government. Independently, the city of Lafayette had to carry the vote, as well as the parish of Lafayette as a whole, in order for us to become a consolidated government. This commission unanimously agrees that any such decision to amend the homeroom charter must be thoroughly vetted and not driven by any impetuous effort absent of full transparency. And that is the end. Discussion?
Are we going one section at
Let's
a
go.
time, or
What-
whole, or?
How about we just go as a whole, man? Whatever your issues are. Go ahead and hit, Will. You got something? Mr. Thiel?
It's not a bad document, and I say that using the barometer of I don't love it and I don't hate it, so it probably means it's not a bad, assessment of our opinions. I do have some questions. I think some points are confusing, or at least they didn't make sense to me, but I want to address those as we go kind of point by point. I do believe I probably have a minority opinion on the commission in terms of the city and parish of Lafayette, but I do feel that some of the concerns that I've raised over our time together is addressed in the report, and I appreciate that. But yeah, I'd like to kind of go more section by section and dive into the details.
Go ahead, Will. Why don't, let's, yeah, just go.
Okay. So the first section, section 1, I struggled with this question that the parish council proposed, because I don't know what a Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government tax dollar is, and that was kind of how I answered it when I responded to the question. The city of Lafayette raises tax revenue, and the parish of Lafayette raises tax revenue. I know, I get 2 bills in the mail in 2 separate envelopes, one from the city and one from the parish. And that money goes, according to Lori Toops's conversation with us, goes to 2 different accounts to fund our government. So I don't know what a city parish consolidated government tax dollar is. I know what a city government tax dollar is and a parish government tax dollar is, but I don't know what a combined tax dollar is. I frankly don't think it exists. So I responded to this question saying that the Lafayette Parish Council should be focused on protecting Lafayette Parish tax dollars. And I made that distinction because I think it's important, because I don't want the Lafayette Parish Council to be involved in protecting Lafayette City tax dollars. So that was kind of how I responded to it. I think maybe, and then, so that was the first point I raised. And then the second point is, when we start talking about television, radio, print, and social media, like, I'm kind of confused why we're like listing out various forms of communication. It seems a little odd to.
That was part of the conversation to a solution, right? How do you make this thing more transparent? I think Paul Easton had brought that up. We know that the clerk of court is doing everything by public record to notify media, et cetera, but the idea was, how do we even go a step further?
Okay.
And creatively get it. Look, well, you did a website for us to streamline it. I mean, creative ideas that would put it out in front of the public, that the information could be gathered and the questions could be answered before the votes ever take place. That's what that answer was about.
Okay. I don't mind the message.
Yes.
I think maybe the sentence could maybe be reworded. It was kind of an odd sentence to me to start listing out different forms of advertising mediums.
Well, that was basically to say that the access, thank you. The concept was to utilize the media as to notify where accessibility to see these budgets, to see these numbers. And that was it, utilizing the media more to let the public know where they can go find that.
Okay.
So it wasn't really wasn't to broadcast it in the 10 o'clock news, necessarily any numbers, but it's to let the public know where they could go find it and to utilize the media in that response so they can look for it.
Okay. I don't know if there's any other opinions on that sentence. I just thought it was a little, please, yes.
I just wanted to kind of go back to when you were talking about LCG tax dollars and how it's separated between city and parish, and yeah, they come in separately and they're allocated separately and dedicated to certain funds and all. And I think, to me, this question begs itself more to that several other answers when we talk about communication. And I think by splitting the councils to a city council and a parish council, we have cleared the way for everyone to be more respectful, and I think we have in terms of where the funds should go. And when we you know, we're trying to both be good stewards of those funds by understanding this is like Parks and Rec, you know, millage goes to the city, and the parish millage goes to the parish and dedicated from there. So as far as the parish protecting their funds, I think it's a matter of what goes to what department and what goes to what entity, and then it's a respectful, and I feel like we've gotten there. I mean, it was a little rocky at first, I get that, because the whole split of the councils made it difficult for us maybe to understand how to maneuver that, but I feel like we've gotten to that point better to where we are digging in deeper in terms of where did that money generate from, what millage, where is it dedicated to, and so we're able to both protect our funds a little bit better that way, so.
So would there be any objection if we amended the first sentence, the second line, in the first sentence, where we say, the commission believes that the Lafayette Parish Council would best fulfill its responsibility to protect Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government tax dollars, change Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government tax dollars to Lafayette Parish Government tax dollars. That the parish council needs to fulfill its responsibility to protect Lafayette Parish government tax dollars. And then leave everything else in the section as is.
I think that makes sense, because we don't consolidate our tax dollars if they're dedicated to certain, you know, millages to certain city or parish. So to me, that does kind of clear it up if that's where you're going with it, if y'all are okay with that. I mean,
Answer the question.
I'm comfortable with that.
So I'm offering an amendment to change the wording of the first sentence from the commission believes that the Lafayette Parish Council would best fulfill its responsibility to protect Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government tax dollars. Change the wording of Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government tax dollars to Lafayette Parish Government tax dollars. Well, but no, I don't think that addresses the point I'm raising, that the Lafayette Parish has its own tax dollars, and the Lafayette Parish Council's responsibility is to protect those tax dollars. The Lafayette Parish Council's responsibility is not to protect consolidated tax dollars.
But they're not consolidated, the tax dollars.
Yeah, we don't protect the city's dollars.
So it would be in line with what you do.
No. So the
Doesn't the parish council have constituents in the city?
Yeah.
Well, then they're protecting both dollars.
Say
So
that
they're
again?
focused on both. If they have constituents in Lafayette, they got to worry about the parish and the city. So it's not just the parish,
Well,
parish
so, no,
dollars.
you're blurring the lines there. So my parish councilman is A.B. Rubin,
Correct.
and I pay parish tax dollars. A.B. Rubin's responsibility, like that millage that I get, my property tax bill, all the millages, this millage, A.B. Rubin's job is to protect those millages and the tax dollars that they generate, what they go spend, what they repair, what they fix, what they do. I get a separate bill for the city of Lafayette. A.B. Rubin is not responsible to protect those tax dollars, even though A.B. Rubin's constituent, me, lives in both the city and the parish. A.B. Rubin does not have a responsibility for city ordinances, city millages, city funding.
Yeah, he has no
Yeah,
control
so-
over those.
Right.
He doesn't
He
have
has no
control.
vote,
He has no
control.
control, but he still has an obligation.
Yeah, he does. So remember,
But if-
I'm all right, help me out. So here's a question. We have joint council meetings to determine the allocations, which is part of the Lafayette Consolidated Government tax dollars, right? There's tax dollars going into that. You guys are making decisions over that, right, Brian, Nan? Right,
Yeah,
that's what I understood the question to be.
We make decisions on the city dollars. We don't vote on parish dollars. I mean, that's out of our realm of.
So we do, but you do?
We're interested in the parish, of course, but if it's an issue where there's money that has to be allocated to the parish for a particular thing, we don't get to vote on that.
Correct. But you are voting on the allocations, correct?
Well, allocation forms, but that's not,
But that's part of the
if we're
money.
talking about all tax dollars, yeah.
As Buddy said, and that's, I remember that coming up in this conversation, as a parish councilman, I have city people I represent. So that's why some of the things, as a parish council, we vote on a city, well, I guess,
Now, when it comes to funds, though,
no.
I mean, interest, yeah, I mean, we all have an interest.
You take out the,
It's,
We're answering the question as it was written.
Yes, responsibility, obligation.
Yeah, I understand we don't have the option of changing the question, but we have the option of changing our response.
But the answer doesn't represent the question.
Well, we're answering it correctly.
No, we're not. They still have an obligation.
Okay, so
but they don't
What,
have-
could a suggestion be Lafayette government's tax dollars? Take out the city parish consolidated and just do
That would be
Lafayette
clearer. That would be
government's
clearer.
tax dollars, which mean the city, the parish.
Correct.
So,
That's
what-
clear, I think, yeah.
so we could take out city parish consolidated and put an apostrophe S on
Because part of the question,
governments.
part of the problem are things that we, concerns were that we're putting all the money together.
In one
And that's what
pot,
people are,
right.
so you see, when you see city parish consolidated, they like, well, wait a minute. You mean I'm paying for the city and it's going to the parish, or vice versa, that kind of thing? So yeah, I think that kind of makes it clear.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I still think it's a little problematic because Lafayette Consolidated Government, LCG, is a third entity that does not charge millages. I don't get a third tax bill from Lafayette Consolidated Government with a third set of, with a third set of millages, and we've just now labeled them in our answer.
All right, well, do you want to put a motion?
There are three legal entities here. Lafayette, the Lafayette Parish, the Lafayette City, the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government. And my argument is the Lafayette Parish Council only has a responsibility to protect the tax dollars of one of those three entities, and that's the Lafayette Parish.
So,
I think you got what you're asking for, so you want to make a motion on that?
yeah, you want to make a motion?
Okay,
And
my,
we'll vote on
my,
it?
my motion is to amend the first sentence of section 1 from Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government tax dollars to Lafayette Parish Government tax dollars.
I thought we.
No, that was hers. Let's let them go. So do I have a second?
If there's no
Have a
second,
no-
it-
have-
Wait, I'm going to second that. Yeah, is
what,
that
he-
parish
let's
government?
let's two different motions. Will is Lafayette Consolidated Government.
Lafayette
Right,
Parish
they want to check.
government.
What, Lafayette
Lafayette
Parish?
Parish
Well, that's Veronica's. Will presented Lafayette Parish, right?
right.
Right, so,
Lafayette Parish Government tax dollars.
right, that's the motion. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second for that?
Second.
All right. Having seen the second, I guess we'll call it for a vote.
Have the word parish.
Do we need public input?
Yes.
Okay, public input.
Public input, any public input on changing Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government tax dollars to Lafayette Parish Government tax dollars? Seeing no comment. Oh, you could come up. No, you could come up, because the AOC can't hear you.
Lafayette government, yeah.
All right, my public comment is, I agree 100% with Will.
It's LCG.
And a vote.
The parish, so that would make sense.
let's clarify on the vote. A no
Wait.
disagree with the amendment?
Okay, what we're going to do is put everybody on, so be careful if you're whispering. Okay.
Yes, Brian.
Now, go
Brian,
ahead.
yes.
Okay.
The
Go
answer
ahead,
is
Brian.
yes. We will come back after this.
Yeah,
If this
I
fails,
understand that
we will
part.
come back and use Veronica's suggestion, okay?
I want to make sure that what we're voting, the way we answer,
Yeah, a yes agrees with Will's suggestion, and a no vote disagrees with the suggestion, with the amendment.
The question is asking about how can the parish, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tracy.
Joe?
All right, Mr. Tabor,
No.
Ms. Cook,
Yes,
Mr. Teely,
Yes.
Mr. Morrison,
Yes.
Mr.
Richard, no.
Richard, Mr. Bro,
No.
Mr. Eason,
No.
Mr. Schilling.
No.
Okay, the motion to amend fails.
Okay. So do I have a motion
it's just semantic.
to change the word Lafayette Parish Consolidated Government to Lafayette's? Is that?
I so move.
Lafayette
Lafayette
government.
Consolidated Government.
So strike City Parish Consolidated to Lafayette's. Lafayette Governments.
I so move.
Who's making the motion?
I so move.
Clear.
Who made the motion?
I will.
Paul, do I have a second?
Second.
Have a comment?
Maybe.
It's the same one. The thing, yeah, instead of Lafayette Parish Consolidated Government, and he went to Lafayette Parish, this is Lafayette's government,
We're saying just Lafayette's go.
Lafayette's government.
But what does that mean? Lafayette? I mean, it's
The
like
original
Lafayette,
motion-
so we're talking Lafayette Parish?
The original motion took Consolidated out.
Yeah,
It's Lafayette
That's,
government's
we're,
tax.
this board has
Both.
unanimously voted to stay
so
Consolidated.
the word parish in there
So
would
I'm
mean
going to leave
both,
the
right?
word back in.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just trying to understand
So
here.
how's it gonna read again?
Lafayette
Lafayette's
government's
government.
tax.
Lafayette Consolidated Government's
No,
tax.
Lafayette government's
Just
tax.
Lafayette government's tax.
Lafayette
Yeah,
government.
so that's where it confuses me. Could it mean Lafayette City, Lafayette Parish, just Lafayette?
It's just Lafayette government's tax. That way it
Okay.
encompasses both city and
Okay.
parish.
Right. I didn't want to, yeah, we're not deconsolidated.
So we have, that's your motion, right?
Yes, a motion, Lafayette government tax.
And,
A second.
we have a second, buddy. Second? Public comment?
Go with it, what the hell?
Come on up.
I would think as a taxpayer, I would need a much more definitive definition of what Lafayette government tax is. Please, someone give me a definitive definition. I pay Lafayette city taxes, I pay Lafayette parish taxes. A more definitive answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Well, shoot.
Go ahead.
Can I comment?
Yep.
Should we do Lafayette parish and city government tax?
I mean, that to me is clearer.
Way more clear.
It's clear, but I think it's wrong.
Yeah, but it's clear.
But it's clear.
I think it's clearer.
Yeah.
It's clear.
We're
I mean,
actually
it's not.
answering a question
You're
that was
covering
given
both.
to us.
You're
to answer.
defining both.
We're revamping the question.
I was just,
Yeah, I feel like y'all are trying to define the exact tax dollars, which I would agree with y'all, but it's, the question is responsibility. That's not, so to answer the question, they do have a responsibility.
But they mentioned tax dollars in the
but they-
question, so that kind of, I think that zones in on what we're
But they
talking
still have a
about.
responsibility to work on the city
They do.
tax dollars.
Another suggestion is to just strike all Lafayette City Parish government and just says it's a responsibility to protect tax dollars,
Oh, let's go there.
tax dollars. So it's no entity
Just
involved
so
at all.
nobody's
What,
confused.
federal tax dollars?
just say Lafayette
there
tax
you go.
dollars. Protect Lafayette tax dollars.
The motion on the floor is Lafayette government, so do we want to offer a substitute amendment?
I'm fine with that. Yeah.
I'll make a substitute motion to Lafayette tax dollars.
Take it out of government now.
Take out government. Take out city, parish, consolidated government, and
That's-
just put Lafayette tax dollars.
Say it again, I'm sorry.
Lafayette tax dollars. Take out
Say
city,
tax
parish,
dollars.
consolidated government.
So just Lafayette tax dollars.
How's that sound to you guys?
Yeah, but does that mean city or parish?
I mean,
Both. Lafayette
So
tax dollars. I
So
mean,
maybe we say parish tax dollars.
right.
Lafayette, so we cover everybody.
Why is parish a bad word?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's
Because,
just trying.
Will,
Consolidated.
if you give me the floor for a
I
moment.
think we've gone in the weeds.
Maybe we
here.
go
Yes,
back
we
to
are.
the
We're
original.
splitting hairs.
I think we're going in the weeds here, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Stay with me, stay with me, stay with me.
The substitute motion on the floor.
Yes.
Okay, so now discussion. Will, the reason being is because we're splitting hairs here. The question asks us to fulfill the responsibility of Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government tax dollars. I do believe, unless, and I yield to my councilmen that are here, you vote to receive the allocation formulas, which has to do with consolidated funds. So,
5% of the budget.
which is 5% of the budget.
Right.
That's what this whole conversation has been about from the beginning.
But it is part of the budget.
It is part of the budget, and that's what the conversation has been a part
Then
of.
let's say that, Bobby, let's say what you want to say. So let's say the parish council's responsibility for the shared services of the city and parish of Lafayette is to protect the city and parish. So we don't draw any, we don't allude to the fact that the
Okay,
parish,
I see.
on a city-only issue, city-only tax dollars to a city-only function has nothing to do with the
Very good.
parish. We don't leave any sort of idea that the parish council has any responsibility to protect that.
Write it for me, Will. I heard you. Write it for me.
Okay.
I heard you. So we're going to be specific to allocation funds.
Is there a motion on the floor, or is there no motion?
Well,
I'll withdraw it if you want to read
There's
it.
a motion and a
There is a motion on the floor,
So-
but if you offer a substitute motion and get a second,
You can
that one
substitute the
supersedes.
You can substitute the substitute.
So
this would be a
I
substitute.
offer a substitute motion to amend the first sentence to say, the commission believes that the Lafayette Parish Council would best fulfill its responsibility to protect Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government tax dollars used to fund the shared services of the city of Lafayette and the parish of Lafayette by generally being ... the rest of the sentence.
The shared services.
Yeah. So I propose we keep the same verbiage that exists, but then after adding,
So now you're adding instead of taking out.
I'm adding for the shared services of the city of Lafayette and parish of Lafayette.
So after consolidated government tax dollars would be added, used to fund the shared services.
Of the city of Lafayette and the parish of Lafayette.
tax dollars of shared services.
Because that is the only thing that we vote on.
Yeah. That's true.
Let me read it. I'll read what I wrote. You guys can correct me. But it would read, city parish consolidated government tax dollars used to fund the shared services of both the city and the parish of Lafayette is added by being, by generally being good stewards of funds. Yes?
Yeah.
Is that the motion?
That's my
Will?
motion, thank
All
you.
right, do I have a second?
Second.
Yeah.
Nanette, second. Having a second. Any public comment?
Work?
Joe, you want to call the vote?
All right, Ms. Cook,
Yes?
Mr. Thiele,
Yes.
Mr. Morrison,
Yes.
Mr. Richard,
Yes.
Mr. Bro,
Yes.
Mr. Eason.
Yes.
Mr. Schilling,
Yes.
Mr. Tabor.
Yes.
Motion is approved to amend.
And I thank you for putting Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government back into, because that was
the
the
question.
original question.
I think we came to a good agreement there.
Good, thank you.
There's 9 more to go.
Should we order lunch?
Bobby knows what time I eat lunch, 11 o'clock.
Anybody else? Will, you have some more? Let's keep going.
Oh,
We'll
yeah,
we'll let
one
you.
more. Got anything on two?
For section 1 or
Just keep going, Will. Down your list.
On to the whole list.
We'll deal with your list and we'll come back and deal with
And keep in
anybody else.
mind, we allotted about 2.5 hours for this meeting. We do have another big meeting in here, and we're going to start setting up about 11:30.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Veronica.
No, I don't have anything for 2.
Okay.
Do you have anything else, Will? The whole document. I'm gonna let you go with the whole document.
I've
Do
taken
anything
control of the meeting. Number 3, I actually wanted to highlight that I thought was very well written. See, look, I can say positive things. For 4, I don't, Lafayette Parish. Best evaluate. What is the adoption? I propose an amendment to number 4. In the last sentence, it says, "The commission also emphasized LCG creating broader avenues for the public to track those funds within the budget that fall within the allocation formula, as well as for the public to be able to monitor related expenditures such as public work projects, legal matters, etc." I offer an amendment to add to this string, this list, as well as such as a, how do I want to phrase this? Basically what I'd like to add is to encourage LCG to offer the backup and support that led to their conclusion for their proposal of the cost allocation formulas. So
The science. The science.
So clearly, the administration proposes a budget. The budget uses cost allocation formulas. Clearly, somebody somewhere has to make a decision of what cost allocation formulas to use. I'm hopeful that person is using basic science or reasonableness so I would encourage LCG, if we're trying to be transparent with the public, to also provide some of that backup and support that led them to their.
Nan?
I can speak to that, I think. We did have a budget meeting, we met with Lori, and we went over allocation formulas and how they were determined, and it really, I don't know if there's a science per se, or there's a magic formula that they plug in, but it is a matter of services and where they're rendered, and that's kind of how they're tracking it. And my question was, how well do you track it, And I know that there is some gray area. I mean, there's some gray area in terms of, I guess, down to, who wants to sit there, and apparently lots of invoices coming in and separating them, and I guess they just look at the bigger picture to see where, let's say, Public Works, where most of the work is being done, and that's easy enough to determine where the project is. So that's kind of how they came up with that. Legal, for instance, another one, they look at, where the cases are. So I feel like they track it based on location of the service rendered, and whether that's a science or not. I felt very comfortable with that explanation and their tracking of it.
So whatever the administration provided you to make you comfortable with it, if at this time where the allocation formulas are being voted on and the public is offering their input, I would like to add a sentence to this section that just encourages LCG to make that, whatever they provided you with that made you comfortable, to the public as well. So the public, because that's what I heard so much, that I don't get these cost allocation formulas.
Can I tell you,
That's when we do the resolution.
when we do the resolution.
There will
this
be
is
a
what-
presentation.
It's going to be public when we do the resolution.
I mean, it'll be at a meeting.
At that time, if there was any questions to the public, for the public to ask, and I'm assuming when we do the resolution, you'll have some writing there with the science is.
So,
And then we'll definitely have Lori here for that meeting and have her come up and explain, okay, this is kind of what she did for us
You
in the
basically want
short
to know what
version.
the science is.
Right.
That's your question.
Yeah.
And
I don't
it
know if it's a
varies,
science.
from different things, and it's getting into the weeds of it. Some things, sometimes it's based on what was done last year, or there's no way to track it. So
And
I think to answer your question, at the time when we do the resolution, because it'll be done every year before budget, as it states in here. It's already that's all written in here. So every year it'll be done. So that is addressed later on when we do it's about the resolution.
So In the commission's summary of findings and recommendation, the second to last one, adoption of the annual allocation resolution, which is what you're referring to. Can we add just a couple words that says, so that section says, the commission supports and recommends the annual adoption of a joint resolution between the Lafayette City Council and the Lafayette Parish Council on the allocation schedule decided by the Finance Committee and LCG administration, following a thorough review of the allocations and the backup and support of those allocations.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of a given. If we're gonna,
I just don't think that's necessary.
if we're
Well,
going
my
to
opinion.
adopt them, I
Again,
feel
we're
like
splitting
the
hairs,
committee,
and I don't have too many.
the
Bobby,
committee-
I have none.
I mean, you can say it's splitting hairs, but it's the thing I heard most from constituents, that they don't understand the 80-20 allocation formula. They want to see the support, the science. They want to see, how did LCG come to that number? And I'm not satisfied with my time on this council that I've seen that. I've seen the support. So I don't think it is splitting hairs. I think it's a major issue.
They got to take that initiative to go find it. I mean, you can ask the question, you're probably not going to get the answer you like. Go do your own research. I mean, if you were really that concerned about it as a constituent, I'm going to go ask the questions. And I'm going to find out the backup information. I mean, that's what a human being would
The
do.
information's there, I just think you probably have to hire another position just to do that, I'm
Well,
assuming.
I was going to say, it's difficult to get that information sometimes because it's time consuming, and our CFO is busy with a lot of other stuff, so maybe it would take a third party. But I don't think it's a problem by adding that language, because it's kind of a given, but it's just putting it in there.
I mean, the information clearly exists today. Like, they made you comfortable.
yeah.
So like, whatever they gave you that made you comfortable in that meeting, can that just be public information at the time the resolution is voted
Well,
on?
that's the plan. I mean, that is, when we bring that resolution before the council, and we have
last
to
line
vote on it,
says, as well for the
Lori
public
will
to be
be
able to
here, and
monitor.
we will ask those questions so that she can present that information publicly of what she told us, so that the public can hear it. So the same thing I heard is what she will present when we do that resolution. So, yes, so to answer your question about it making that information available, it will be at the meeting now. And, I don't see any harm in putting that language in
It'll be in the
there because
resolution, in my opinion, it would be in the resolution when we write because we got to vote on that resolution, and it's,
I don't know if it'll go into all detail.
no, it won't go into detail, but
Yeah.
it could direct you to that, where it's at, I'm assuming.
But I don't know where
So-
it's at.
Well, what is the here you have, you had the last line you had a problem with, or whatever you wanted, but it says, as well as for the public to be able to monitor. That's what your question is, you wanted the public to be able to monitor it. That's what you were going, you wanted
What sentence are you on?
on number 4, the very last sentence. That's what you were questioning.
So it says, yes, yeah, broader aspect.
The commission,
The commission also emphasizes LCG create border avenues for the public to track those funds within the budget that fall within the allocation formula, as well as for the public to be able to monitor related expenditures, such as public works, projects, legal matters, et cetera.
So our recommendation is like,
We want
public to-
greater access for the public. and
Okay.
we've stated that in several of our answers.
no, I like that we say that. As well as the public to able to monitor.
But you said you wanted to rewrite the sentence, but you were wanting public input, public availability. I'm trying to figure out, what did you want to add to the
else?
I
sentence?
want to add the word like backup and support for the cost allocation formulas. That, like, if I could add those words somewhere to section 4 or somewhere to the adoption of the annual allocation resolution in the commission summary of findings and recommendations. The words backup and support for the allocation formulas.
And that, you
So how
put
about
that-
Allocation formula, list the allocation formula, would that work itself?
Say that again?
Just document the allocation formula, just write the formula right there. Is it a lengthy formula?
Well, we have the formula. Like, the
Which is
formula is 80% or 20%. That's the formula.
Not always, not on everything.
Not on everything.
Fluctuates.
But like, how did the administration come to 80%? How, And they clearly convinced a city council member it was a good number. So like, it's probably is a good number, just,
And they base it on last year's
Yeah.
services.
It's not
They
always,
look
it's
at
not
the-
always
they
just
look at
a
it and
flat 80/20.
Right.
It could be.
It fluctuates. It could
what
fluctuate in the middle of the
What was
year.
done last year, and we playing catch-up, basically you gotta play catch-up because the number's not known. So like, what?
All right, I have an idea. My God, guys. We only have 2 hours. The commission also emphasized, the commission also emphasized LCG creating broader avenues for the public to track those funds within the budget that fall within the allocation formula, as well as for the public to be able to monitor related, here, insert, supporting documentation and expenditures. How about that?
I love
Making that a motion?
Make it a motion.
I'll second.
Public comment?
Is it good? You
I like it.
Okay, all right, let's do it. Let's roll with it.
Hold on.
Public comment, yes?
Yeah.
Coach, you gotta have his comment.
You got 3 minutes.
Okay. Has anyone up there ever seen a document produced by LCG that shows where the allocation of funds goes? When I was on the Protect the City Committee, we asked that for a number of times. We never got it, okay? Conrad Como came once and told us that, if I remember correctly, 60% of the tax dollars for property taxes for Lafayette Parish were paid for by City of Lafayette residents. I might be wrong, but I think I'm correct. I've never seen a document that says that 60% of the work is done in the City of Lafayette. Okay, so I guess my question to you, has anybody ever seen a document that Will is suggesting that shows this is where it's going? Because when we went to drainage, they were unable to track basically anything. And we spent 2.5 hours with them. They were, can you tell me where this is going? No, we just go do the job.
Yeah, thank you, Bill.
Okay.
We will never get done if we don't stay on track here, right? So, we have a motion, right? We have a second. Joe?
Yes.
Mr. Teely,
Yes.
Mr. Morrison?
Yes.
Mr. Richard?
Yes.
Mr. Bro?
Yes.
Mr. Eason?
Yes.
Mr. Schilling?
Yes.
Mr. Tabor?
Yes.
Ms. Cook?
Yes.
Motion is approved to amend.
So might I encourage everyone, and I know that words are important, they carry big weight, and nobody wants to be misrepresented or mislead anyone by the lack of clarity of words. I get that. But I just want to encourage everybody, like, can we look at those things that would be crucially important to what we're trying to convey? And let's work on that. If anybody has anything you want to amend or add or take away, can we focus on that? Cool? Thank you. All right.
I think it's perfect. We wrote it.
Stop it, Paul.
We got an hour and a half left. We got plenty of time.
Hey, Will, you have
Anything else, Will?
That's all I had for section 4. For section 5, I wanted to compliment how well it was written, because it reminds me, because a lot of the words are my words. So I appreciate I appreciate being very well represented in the document.
So let me implement this, put this in here. What we did was, if you turned in answers, we took everybody's answers. We put everybody's answers under every question. If there was a trend, right, if 3 people, 4 people had the same, maybe they used different language, et cetera, we said, okay, this is a majority, this is where we're at. Right. If somebody, Will, framed it, we took your statement and said, here we go, this is a great way to say it in the fewest words that we could say it. So that's the way that we did the document.
I think for the public to know also that there was 4 of us, Bobby and myself and Nanette and Brian, that compiled all of this and put it all together. And of course, Joseph and Veronica too.
Thank you for you guys' time.
And Joseph was quite a wordsmith for us when we got stumped on some words, but anyhow. But I wanted for the public to know who compiled it all, so.
Well, since I don't want to interrupt, but I just had one thing.
Yeah, please.
Since we at 5.
Yeah.
And I'm reading it, And of course, I represent the municipalities. Does this statement says, basically, because it's a parish, it could be spent in the parish, it could be spent in the municipalities?
Which is a parish.
That's all I'm asking.
Right.
That's all I'm asking. All right, do we need to put the word municipalities?
So the parish dollars should be spent within the city limits. It says within the city limits
Yeah.
of Lafayette,
other
and you're saying, and
municipalities.
other municipalities.
That's what I'm
Within the municipalities instead of the city.
That's what I'm asking.
Good.
That's what I'm asking. Because I think y'all are doing that now, Brian, and Ms. Lynette, y'all are spending. So I'm just asking that we put municipalities.
And it's in there.
So,
yeah.
no, it's not.
No, it's not.
It says.
I'm looking at it.
So,
That's 6, just kidding.
so maybe a motion to strike.
Or number five.
Number five.
Number five.
A motion to strike within the city limits of Lafayette and amend that or add within the city limits of Lafayette Parish municipalities.
I don't think you have to strike, I think you just leave city limits.
Of course, the question asks for city limits, yeah.
And
I mean, I don't mind if we go beyond the question,
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
Well, I mean, just
other
Either way,
municipalities.
yeah, just include other municipalities.
other municipalities.
Yes.
So
So
do we
motion-
add that to the, I'm sorry, do we
second
add that to the question? Again, we're answering the question as written, and we add stuff, that's not the answer to the question.
That's where, yeah.
I don't think we can change the question.
No, we can't.
That's
So
in the
that's-
parish
that's
resolution.
Where I'm getting stumped on.
Our second.
But
We
so
have a
do we put it
question.
in 6?
Okay, but, so.
So let's just answer
Yeah,
the
number
question.
6 would answer that question.
Let's put it in 6 then, okay.
It's already in 6. Let's do that. Let's answer the question.
All right, so we good with
you
that?
good?
Let's go
Five,
good.
so
Let's go to
five.
6.
Five
Let's
is
go to
good?
6. We good. We good.
Point taken.
I got you.
you.
Yeah.
So what do you want to do? For number 6, we want to add that?
Well, it says the
It's already-
implication consolidation was always working with other municipalities. and so we good.
So it's in.
Yeah, I recognize.
Very good.
We good.
Will?
That's all I was right.
I told you it was in it.
I have nothing more
I
about
was on the wrong
5.
question.
Think about it.
I was on the wrong question.
Buddy,
Good thing, okay. now
but
we
you have a question?
No, that was earlier.
We good. That's all I have.
Okay.
Yeah, they could close everybody, yeah.
Number 7, I still don't like that word divorce in there. I asked you to take that out.
Divorce.
Don't like that word.
Okay, separation.
In 7?
Yeah, it sounds kind of.
Yeah, separation sounds better.
Okay, I make a motion to
That's just a
amend it by
personal-
putting separation.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a motion on the floor for question number 7, that we remove the word divorce and replace it with the word separation.
Need a second?
Second? Do we have a second?
Second.
Just deconsolidation?
The separation.
Just go
Let's go separation. Public comment?
Keeps deconsolidation.
Seeing none, Joe?
Okay, Mr. Morrison.
Yes.
Mr. Richard.
Yes.
Mr. Bro.
Yes.
Mr. Eason.
Yes.
Mr. Schilling. Yes. Mr. Tabor.
Yes.
Ms. Cook.
Yes.
Mr. Teely.
Yes.
Motion to amend is approved.
Because separation, you always have that chance to reunite.
There's hope.
Divorce is fine, right?
No, they got people divorced and got remarried again.
Oh, yeah, I know 2 or 3 times, huh?
It's not a happy word.
I want to go back to 6,
Uh-oh.
where I guess we didn't touch on 6. I want to go to 6.
Can't go back, William, you want, you got to go.
Sorry.
Time has passed.
6 is a rough.
Fair to all taxpayers.
So 6 says, is consolidation fair to all taxpayers of the parish of Lafayette? Well, yeah. The commission overall finds that consolidation has been mutually beneficial to both the city and the parish. The implementation of consolidation in Lafayette Parish will always have challenges of working with other municipalities on expenditures of parish millage funds, such as drainage millages, roads and bridges millages, etc., recognizing that projects are based on priority funding. Kind of ends kind of anticlimactically, but
I think you need to add an S on to drain millages, because there's more than a single one, right?
I mean,
Insert
yeah,
in
but
the-
that wasn't kind of what I was calling. I agree with you. Yeah, I do agree that it should add, yeah.
All millages should have S's on them.
Can we add maybe another paragraph under that? Like, leave it as is, or I guess just add those S's that Tim's saying, and then add another paragraph that says, it has been clearly vocalized that there are a number of Parish of Lafayette residents who desire for the city to have greater influence over the electing process of Lafayette's mayor. Because I do think that is the crux of why, in my argument, why a consolidation may not be fair to all the taxpayers of the Parish of Lafayette. That the parish taxpayers of Lafayette, who would like the city of Lafayette to elect its own mayor, have lost that ability. And we reference that, but I would like to reference it here, because it's so critically important. So I offer an amendment to add another paragraph after the one that's currently written that says, it has been clearly vocalized by a number of Parish of Lafayette residents for the city of Lafayette to have greater influence in the electing process of the city of Lafayette's mayor. And then end the sentence.
All right, so is that a motion, Will?
Yes.
All right, is there a second? It's just not necessary,
I don't know
Will.
if we need to do it.
Yeah.
I think it's somewhere
already
there.
in there. We can emphasize that point at the end more if you want, again, but
I
to
see
me,
it
that's,
somewhere.
I
So
just,
no second, all right? Can we move on? Let's keep moving, let's keep moving. Something else, Will? Anything else you got?
go to 8.
For number 7, what are the likely consequences of deconsolidation? We amended it to not say divorce and say separation. The commission believes that the likely consequences of deconsolidation include their outlets to loss of revenue, loss of establishment, increase in legal fee. There is also concern of resources. There's also concern that millage sources will have to be shared among municipalities. Fire protection floors. Very opportunities suffered due to government proceeding. Can we rework the very last sentence? The last part of the last sentence that says, and growth opportunity may suffer due to corporate entities perceiving the city and parish separately. I don't know if we've heard from a single corporate entity ever in our commission, and certainly a corporate entity that expressed their dislike of the city and parish being separate.
Thank you, Will. We discussed that. That was part of the conversation, though we did not entertain any corporate entity. We had talked about that as being one of the likely consequences. It's easier to market Lafayette via population versus as a whole versus independently. So that's the reason why that's in there, Will.
and I think LEADER would support that as
Yes.
well in terms of their, when they're out there looking for companies to come.
Correct. Thank you, Ms. Cook.
Nothing further for 7. Eight, I thought was extremely well written.
Thank
Good
you.
or bad, or good or bad.
Thank you. We tried.
For 9,
Good or bad.
do we want, and I'm putting this out, I'm not proposing anything, do we want to put something in 9 that really needs to talk about how the City of Lafayette Council and the Parish of Lafayette Council need to resolve their differences through some other mechanism than who the city parish attorney chooses to defend? I touched on that quite a bit in my answer, and I see it's kind of absent here. We do talk about it later, about hiring special counsel. So if people want to pass, I'm willing to pass because we do talk about it.
Yeah, it's in the last, right here.
Yeah.
That's why it's there.
And I recognize that. But if there's appetite, if we wanted to add commentary to 9 to talk about that. If anyone has a desire to add that.
I feel like that answer covers in terms of the major high points of, communication and all the things that we need to be doing as two councils working together. And I feel like at the end, when we address the legal, we can embellish that more if you want, or add more at that point, but.
Okay. All right, then I'm fine with 9. 10, I did not understand our answer. I don't really have an opinion one way or the other. I just don't understand it.
Okay, so I'll explain that answer to you, Will. Number 10, it said investigate and evaluate the findings, right? The investigation of the findings were, this is what was important to the Protect the City Commission. These were the areas that they talked about. And then we talked about, like, what was the recommendation to those things. So the bullet points underneath that are still in line with question number 10.
That's the
Yes.
answers to it, yeah.
Then maybe can we just add like as outlined below or something, like, because I lost it. I thought the
Oh,
section
yeah,
under
okay.
10 was a
Separated.
completely new section.
Right.
Like, I thought 10 just didn't answer anything.
Understandable.
You could put 10A and just let it
Or,
recognize.
yeah, if like each of these bullet points were 10A, 10B, 10C, just to show that they're still part of 10.
Or just
That's just a
see
type.
comments below.
That's just graphic
Or that's what, or
situation. I'm
something
going with that.
below.
Look,
Yeah,
as addressed below.
just, it's something to direct them,
Individually addressed
direct them to
below.
that, yeah.
Can I make a motion to add in C as C, comments below?
One second.
That's to the paragraph, right?
Yes, to the paragraph.
Let me add to your C comments. C comments below as outlined, commission summary of finding and recommendations, so
I
it's
would
clear.
accept that, yeah.
Is this our commission or is this the PTC?
Yeah, it's ours.
Can you identify, I'm saying-
Yes, that's good. Let's do it. Let's do it,
doesn't
buddy.
say which committee.
Yes, let's do it.
As a CPA commission?
Yeah.
Be nice over there.
C findings below the CPA summary.
I'll accept that. That's fine.
I'm good with that.
I'll accept that amendment.
Do we have a
There's a
second?
motion
So
and a second.
that means, Joe, that also means that we're going to strike the commission summary of findings, right? It'll go
Yes.
to
Yeah, just black that
CPAC,
out.
right?
Correct. Yes.
So we're going to strike that heading, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, the whole
Good
thing.
with that.
Okay, we got a
So-
second.
The bold print.
Wait, let's read the motion. Joe, did you capture all that wording? Can you read the motion to me?
So, yeah, what do we do?
The wording that I got kind of conflicts with what we just said about striking that heading, so I probably didn't keep up because my comments read, see comments below as outlined in the commission summary of findings and recommendations.
I think you just remove the
So-
bold
so-
print.
We put
move it.
CPA, though.
Yes. we're gonna do-
CPA commission
Yes,
findings.
CPA commission,
Right.
and then we're going to strike out the title, the commission summary of findings and recommendations, right?
Oh, okay.
Good. That's good.
Just need to make sure Joe's tracking with this.
Comments from the public.
Well, we have to have a second.
You
Is
We have
a
a second? Paul, second.
I'll second it.
Comments from the public?
Comments, none?
All right, Mr. Richard,
Yes.
Mr. Bro,
Yes.
Mr. Eason,
Yes.
Mr. Schilling,
Yes.
Mr. Tabor,
Yes,
Ms. Cook,
Yes.
Mr. Teely,
Yes.
Mr. Morrison.
Yes.
Okay, motion to amend has been approved.
Perfect. Go to final findings, section, I guess.
I had a couple more sentences in that section. There's a couple sentences that I just take issue with. I think they're forms of absolute statements that I don't think that we can substantiate, and I kind of want us to maybe still communicate the same idea, but maybe change the wording. And the first one would be the first sentence under functional consolidation. We say, the commission deems that functional consolidation would not work. I think that is and for those of you who remember, Kevin Blanchard gave the presentation about functional consolidation. I don't know how we can say that. I don't think we did the analysis or the to just make such a bold statement. It would not work. If we want to say we don't recommend it, or we need to further explore it, or.
Could we just say could will not work at this time? Because I think we've talked about maybe, we talked about functional consolidation, but I don't know if, just like we're not ready to deconsolidate at this time. So I think functional consolidation is something that until we actually explore it a lot more than we have, at this time, it's not something that we deem something we want to do.
Okay, so maybe amended to say the commission deems that functional consolidation would not work at this time without much more analysis and exploration, or something.
I think that's reasonable. I mean,
Without being vetted further.
right.
Without being vetted further, or without being, yeah.
I think we vetted pretty firmly throughout the process here, and this is, we want to be inclusive with everybody's thoughts, but I think that probably, and we can put this up for a motion and a vote, but I think the statement was vetted, and that it will not work, and for all the reasons that we listed a little bit earlier.
And I mean, I'd have to disagree that I don't think we explored it enough to where we could definitively say it
Yes,
won't work.
I understand.
I think it would be a fair analysis to put not at this time without more discussion or more exploration. That just kind of leaves the opportunity for if someone wants to bring it up, then we look at it again, or it's reviewed again. But at this point, I mean, we did not go by department and determine what was city and how would we work the employees, how, we didn't do that. It was suggested that would be a lot of work, which I think it would be. So I think at this point in the discussion, it's not something that we're ready to do at this time.
How about the majority of this commission deemed that it would not work? Because
This is an opinion answer, correct?
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. What about this, Nan? The statement would begin, without further exploration, comma, the commission deems that functional consolidation would not work. Something like
I
that?
think that makes sense. I mean, I feel like
Yeah.
without exploring it more, at this point, we don't,
I would second that.
we could say that.
Can I make a suggestion? If we,
Do you want to keep the words, though, as supported by the testimony from the CFO?
Yes.
can we go
Because
through
that
all
that
the
was the
amendments?
answer, correct?
Can we go through
So
all the
you're
amendments
right.
and then
I'm
vote on them at
following
one
you,
time
Veronica.
instead of voting on each individual
Yeah,
change?
make the changes
For that
and-
section 10, maybe?
Well, do we have to vote on one by one, B?
What?
If we amend each one of these, we can't vote them as a blanket, can
Oh,
we?
no,
Okay.
because you might disagree with one and agree with the other.
Yeah, we're gonna have to vote
You
them,
know.
So,
just the first one.
okay, so Ms. Veronica brought up an important idea. So the statement is that consolidation would not work as supported by testimony from CFO. That was her testimony, right?
That was her
That
testimony,
was
yeah.
her testimony.
Her testimony. This is what we're,
Did we hear other
according to
people?
what she gave.
Yeah, but we didn't hear from anybody else, so that's why I think more exploration is,
But do we put the weight on her?
Right, I feel like we're kind of like putting a
The
lot
majority
on.
of the commission deemed it.
Do we single out any
her?
other presenter at
There's
any
no
time?
word majority.
And I was saying strike, and just hearing the discussion, my recommendations are based on just hearing the discussion, not agreeing but as supported by the testimony from the CFO, if you add without further exploration, I don't know that that's what she was saying. So that's why I said.
and put it there,
Yeah, you can't continue to put her testimony, put that as her testimony.
Now, Bobby,
That's why I suggested.
yeah, what you said, without further exploration, then maybe
You okay?
read what we said, and then maybe,
And end it at
and then
the
maybe
work would
take
not
out-
work, period,
yeah.
Would not work.
period.
And then period, and then the next sentence.
That's
The commission
correct.
feels the.
That's
Right.
Yes, I think that makes the most sense.
Yeah,
What if, given the testimony presented without further exploration, Given testimony presented and without further exploration, the commission deems that functional consolidation would not work. You understand? Given the testimony presented, because we did hear testimony about this, without singling out anybody.
That's correct.
Given the testimony presented and without further exploration, the commission deems that functional consolidation would not work. Period. Strike out as supported testimony from CFO.
That's,
Is there a
good
motion?
compromise.
And we're keeping the second sentence, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Public comment? Yes.
I think I'm with Will, knowing that it would not work is impossible. Maybe it should not be considered at this time without further exploration. I don't see any evidence that says it will not work.
Would you be willing to add "at this time"? Would not work at this time. So like everything you said, as supported by, I think, as supported by the CFO, as supported by testimony, comma, the commission deems that without further exploration, the commission deems functional consolidation would not work at this time.
If you're asking me, Bobby, not the rest of us, I would say no. I feel that words are being put in my mouth on this thing, and I'm not communicating clearly to the parish council what I've heard, right? So I would tell you no. I think I'm good with given the testimony presented and without further exploration, this is what we found. I think I'm good with that. I think that's open enough.
I mean, I could meet in the middle on this.
Does anybody have the answer from Protect the City Commission on this?
What do you
I
mean?
can open it.
What are you talking about?
I just want to hear what they said on this functional consolidation.
I
got a pretty good memory, but.
That's going to be a long, it said a lot about that, right?
I
That
don't
was
know
the
that they
separating of the
spoke
two
on functional.
offices.
I don't think this.
I don't think they
spoke on
I think that was included in their
No,
report,
sir.
functional
I don't
consolidation.
think this.
I think, yes,
It
it
was
is.
either
Yes, it
deconsolidation
is.
or not.
Yes,
Functional deconsolidation, what was that answer? To this point, the summary point on the.
I think they moved to push for deconsolidation. Yeah, that was their position.
Comment, factual comment, according to them, without having any information available to them at all. So I think that this is what we think, that's what they thought.
And I think it's a matter of interpretation. I mean, they had testimony as well, and I guess in their mind, they determined that it would be in the best interest.
Correct.
So, I mean, it's an opinion piece, yes.
it was an option that was
Yeah.
presented to the solution to the issue that the city was facing at that time, right? So again, we have a motion, we have a second, we have comment.
Can you read it back?
Yes.
I'll read it back, but can we get clarification as to who made the motion? I know
I
Mr.
did.
Tabor made, oh, so you
He
did,
did.
okay.
Tabor second, you're right.
All right, so for the functional consolidation section, we're replacing the first sentence with, quote, "Given the testimony presented and without further exploration, the commission deems that functional consolidation would not work," end quote.
Period.
About the second sentence goes on, the commission feels that this approach would essentially amount to a version
That
of.
will remain.
Right,
Will
the second
remain.
sentence will remain, correct.
Okay.
I don't totally
fair
agree
enough.
with that one, but I'll let that go.
All right, Joe?
Because without further.
All right, Mr. Bro? Mr. Eason?
Yes.
Mr. Schilling?
Yes.
Mr. Tabor?
Yes.
Ms. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Teely?
Yes.
Mr. Morrison?
Yes.
Mr. Richard?
Yes.
Okay, motion to amend is approved.
All right, anything else, Will?
The deconsolidation one I'm fine with, the legal counsel one I'm fine with. The elected police chief says the commission received advice that an elected police chief would result in more problems than conceived on the surface. So, I don't, when did we get that advice?
Who's sitting next to you?
From Mike Hebert, Attorney Mike Hebert.
Okay.
When he
Can
presented.
does anyone recall what I don't remember.
Yeah, he said the issues were you had a mayor being pitted against a chief of police, If you remember, I think Purvis even commented to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Confirm that too, yeah.
So, I mean, the sentence just seems a little conspiracy theorist to me. Like, maybe if we can say that, like what you just said, if we could add that to this sentence, so the public understands what we're talking about.
What the issues are.
Because I'm on the commission and I didn't understand what this sentence was saying. And what also is better suited for smaller communities. I'm not sure what that means.
Probably because of the
typically-
comment.
Because they're elected in the small
Because they're elected in the small towns.
Yeah,
So it was some, okay. So-
Basically, it works in a smaller town, but at a town this size, it just,
in the state.
it's a
Because of the
recipe for disaster.
politics.
Too much politics.
Because of the
Okay.
politics.
Can we put that, list that with, under problems? Can we put some of that in there where it says problems, comma, and maybe mention some of those issues that maybe make it not a good idea? Is that,
The political issue,
I mean, should we
politics.
spell it out more?
I think we have to add some, I think we're unclear currently. So I don't like received advice because earlier we just said based on testimony, and now we're saying we received advice. Just to be consistent, I think it's better to say based on testimony presented, comma, the commission feels that an elected police chief position would result in issues between the elected police chief and the city parish president, the mayor parish president, sorry.
What is your, would you reread that, please?
Okay, so, yeah, because I butchered that.
Based upon testimony
Yeah,
presented.
so
I agree.
amending the sentence to say, based on testimony presented, comma, the commission believes that an elected police chief position would result in potential dysfunction between the elected police chief and the mayor president of Lafayette.
Administration, yeah.
How about
Yeah,
this?
put
Would result in better, would result in greater political conflict.
Do you want to take that comment that far? I mean,
He's asking.
make it just.
I like your opening, but I didn't
Make
like
it just
the
a
end.
point blank based on the
Well, can
commission's
you
findings. This is
redo
what-
your opening and just accept our end?
Yeah.
Because I think our end makes all the sense in the
What's
world.
your end?
The end that we have already. You
More
said,
problems.
based on testimony is what you had. The commission believes. That's what you had, right?
Yeah.
All right.
What he's saying, Will, is that
Based
we're
on
not explaining
testimony.
the problems. We're not
Based
gonna-
on testimony and leave it as, and the rest of it as is.
Right, I agree with that.
We basically got the problems based on the testimony. We don't have to elaborate on them, maybe, yeah.
Because you
So
know
then
what,
remove received advice based on testimony the commission received. An elected police chief position would, see, I don't
Yeah.
like would result in more problems than conceived on the surface. I feel like someone's wearing a tin hat and gonna like start talking to me about conspiracies at that point.
Just result in more problems.
I think
Problems
there's a history of that.
Problem's a problem.
Just
There's a history of that, and so you never know what's going to happen.
Would result in, because we use the word dysfunction above, engender dysfunction, would just create dysfunction. Instead of would result in more problems to create dysfunction.
or conflict.
Do you have a problem with the conceived on the surface? Is that what makes it
Yeah,
sound
conceived
like?
on the surface is given me.
Okay, so we just say
Or just
base,
put then anticipated.
well, that's it, just take out from
How
vague
about
to
ba-
surface,
Would result in more problems, boom,
How
period.
about unintended consequences?
or comment.
How about more problem, period?
That's better, unintended consequences.
We can make it simpler, we can just put a comment, problems, take out then conceived and
Based on
surface.
testimony received.
But would be better off.
Yeah,
suited
just
for
take
small-
that
and call
conceit
it
on the
day.
surface out.
That's
oh,
it.
I like it too.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what we got.
Okay.
This is what we got.
Take out the and to surface.
Based on testimony presented, the,
Yeah, just leave it like it is.
The
The commission received advice that elected officials' chief position would result in more problems, comma, but would be better suited for smaller communities.
And is maybe.
Comma,
And it's, yeah,
yeah, good,
period.
I like that.
It's very clean. It's not, you're not reading the future that's going to cause problems, 'cause you don't know if it is or not. I mean, you're just speculating.
Why don't you make that motion, Tim?
That's an emotion. How about that?
Okay,
And I'll second it.
so do you need the motion?
Just,
Here's the motion. Tim is motioning, Go ahead, you do it,
Okay.
you do it.
The commission received advice that elected police chief position would result in more problems, comma, but would be better suited for smaller communities, period.
Based on testimony.
Yeah.
Do we still have that?
Yes,
Yeah, that's at the beginning, based on testimony.
based on testimony.
Based on
commission.
You can add that, yes, based on testimony.
Based on testimony, comma,
Based on, I'll read it. I wrote most of it. Based on testimony presented, the commission received advice that an elected chief of police position would result in more problems, period, comma, but would be better suited for smaller communities.
That's the motion.
That's the motion.
Second by Paul.
That's seconded.
And
Public
maybe,
input.
but that's all
I believe Buddy would go with the third if you want.
Go ahead, Bill.
Actually, he left.
Public comment?
Any comment?
I'm glad someone brought up the mayor pitted against the chief of police. Being a resident of the city of Lafayette, we've had 5 police chiefs in 2.5 years. That's not a conflict, I don't know what is. And do you know that the city of Lafayette has had twice as many days without a chief of police as we have had with one?
Thank you, Mr. Bill. Joe, you want to call the vote?
Mr. Eason?
Yes.
Mr. Schilling?
Yes.
Mr. Tabor?
Yes.
Ms. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Thiele?
yes.
Mr. Morrison?
Yes.
Mr. Richard?
Yes.
Mr. Bro?
Yes.
And the motion to amend is approved.
All right, getting closer.
The mayor of the city of Lafayette, president of Lafayette Parish, I thought was.
You may be right.
Yeah.
Don't love it. Did we amend section 4 to add the supporting and backup, or did we not?
No, we didn't.
We did?
For the
Yeah,
hour.
we did in one of
We
them
did.
areas.
I
Yeah.
didn't know, okay.
Supporting documentation.
We were either gonna do it in section 4 or here. but we
It
in
did,
4.
we did.
Okay.
Yeah, we put it in supporting documentation between related expenditures and last sentence.
Then, I'm fine with 10. They're all 10.
Very good.
I mean, so final findings I'm okay with. An express desire, kind of an odd header, but,
Can I add something?
yeah.
In the spirit of adding here? The final findings, I don't know if y'all are comfortable with this, where it says the commission unanimously agrees deconsolidation is not the answer at this time. Because, we might want to visit it one day,
I mean, it's not a,
but at this time, at our current findings, at this time.
yeah.
I think it's a fair comment.
We're not condemning it,
Things change.
we're not condemning it forever, but at this time, we don't believe it's
Well,
I would
with the
second
word current in there, you're saying that, in my opinion.
to approve. No, but I'm not saying that in there
To
yet.
improve our.
I don't object, that's fine. That's fine. Current.
You making a
At this
motion?
time.
I'm making a motion.
Is it, so
Just
is
add
at this time?
Thank
I
you, Paul.
second.
At this time, this commission unanimously agrees, and we finish the statement, correct?
No.
No.
The commission unanimously agrees deconsolidation is not the answer at this time.
At this time.
Right.
At that point, after deconsolidation. After the word answer, excuse me.
Not at this time.
Nanette Cook, she made the motion, so is there a second?
Second by Bill.
The
Eason?
one from that side over there, that's amazing. Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
We might be friends after this.
Public
You're
input.
still stuck with me as a neighbor.
So let me read it, just to make sure we're all on the same page here. This commission unanimously agrees deconsolidation is not the answer at this time to improving our current form of government. Correct?
That's it?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Public comment? Very good. Joe?
Mr. Schilling?
Yes.
Mr. Tabor?
Yes.
Ms. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Teely,
Yes.
Mr. Morrison,
Yes.
Mr. Richard,
Yes?
Mr. Burrow,
Yes.
Mr. Eason.
Yes.
The motion to amend is approved.
Very good. Any more? Anything else, Sean?
I don't have anything for the final findings section. In the next section, in express desire, I'd like to make a motion to remove the second paragraph. I just find it unnecessary. It's clearly not in a majority opinion, which is kind of what the second paragraph says. I think the first paragraph just communicates the issue fine.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion to strike the second paragraph of an express desire.
I like to second that, because I don't think, this is, you know, the word political a few times was mentioned about this report, and it really, I think I hope we all came to understanding, and it really was just an exploration of how do we make it better. And it wasn't about any one person, any particular person in office or any type of function of the office. It was a matter of just trying to figure out, based on what the city committee had come up with, our exploration of how we proceeded as well. And so I think it was, I don't think we need that in there either. Because I don't like the word political in there. It's not, it wasn't political. It's all about representation and other things.
Yes, ma'am. So I understand, Nan, and that was very clear, because we talked about it even in the drafting committee, like this was not, the position, this was not about Josh. I got it. But this was very clear to me, and this was my statement. This was very clear to me that this conversation, when I say political, I'm not talking about who's the candidate. We're talking about politics. We're talking about philosophy of government, approaches to government. That is a term political. If there's a better word for that, I'm good. But it was clear to me that this was not about,
I think so, too.
this was, the drive behind this was there was a political difference in this. There was a philosophical approach to government that was different to that. So if you're saying, and again, we try to define that political preference to an approach to government, right? How do you approach the government? Some feel like this would be a better approach to government. Others do not feel there's a better approach to government. But when you talk about functional, right, like the functionality of government, we're functioning. And I think we're functioning better now than we did 30 years ago, you know? That was the idea behind that statement.
So my question would be, this commission and PTC were created after an election, based on election results. So this would be political. I mean, that, again, these commissions just weren't, oh, you know what, let's just talk about it, let's have a conversation. We didn't like the election results.
I think, buddy, and you might be right, but I definitely didn't come on this commission to go after Josh or anybody. The conversation of deconsolidation been talked about since I was here in 2011, okay? We even formed a committee, a charter commission to try to deal with it. So, I mean, that was always the question. I don't care who's sitting in the seat. I don't care if they even had a seat. Right. It's about deconsolidation and consolidation.
Right.
No matter who it is. I just don't, I would never sat here if it was to go after Josh or anybody, really, truly. I think it started because of y'all trying to hire a lawyer, right?
Well, it was representation.
I think that's what it was, right?
It was representation. It wasn't political, but it, you know, of course, that's how it's perceived, but it was a matter of representation based on budget and finances and who was responsible for what, and making sure, because we were all put in these seats to be good stewards of the dollars that we're supposed to be watching. So I think that's how the city committee was formed about, okay, we can't get our lawyer, but maybe let's see what we can do to protect our funds better. And so, you know, whether it was political at that point or not, I feel like this committee was not. I feel like we came in just listening to the results of more questioning, and then, you know, to me, the question that came mostly out of this was representation.
Got you.
So I don't,
I understand what you're saying. I really do. And I'm trying to sit there and say, man, what am I failing to communicate clearly here? Because every time the word political is used, it's directed toward an elected official, and that's not what I mean.
That's not what it means.
What this statement is talking about is the philosophy, approach, how we're going to run our government, right? And I wish I had a better word, some better wording that would strike that, because what I hear here, the pushback on the statement is that this is not about who's actually in office right now.
That's right. Maybe
And
take
the
the word
political,
personal.
yeah, well, the word personal would be, it's my personal it's Bobby's personal preference that we remain consolidated. It's a personal, it's a philosophical, my philosophy of government says this is the best way that it works. That's what I meant by personal. But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, because-
It could read as though that it's personally
For all of us.
directed towards
That's right.
an elected official.
That's right.
Right? I
Take that
understand what you're
word out,
saying.
me.
Right, yeah.
Is there any issue then just with striking? Because I feel like this whole,
Striking
correct me if I'm wrong, but this whole paragraph is just to talk about that, certain of us on the commission want the city of Lafayette to have its own elected mayor. I think the
Correct.
first paragraph does
Exactly.
that.
I think
It says, hey, some of the people want this, we take note of that, they weren't a majority, but they're there. The second paragraph seems a little like mean-spirited to me, but it kind of says like, well, those people feel that way, but it's based in politics, and they don't have merits behind their argument. Like it says it does not carry merit in regards, so.
To fair and effective functionality of our present form of government. What we heard, what we entertained was about the functionality. That's what we addressed throughout this, right? Anything that remains is a matter of, I took your statement exactly, right? It just doesn't seem to be democratic, right? Which was a philosophy or approach to government. Look, I'm not gonna, bury my mule on this mountain right here on this thing if everybody doesn't think that's an important statement. But
Modify it a little bit, let me just throw this at you guys and see what you think. The majority of the commission agrees that this position to be an approach to government or improving government, but does not carry the merit of regards to fairness, effective functionality of our present form of consolidated government. And I think that the big sticker is the personal and political, right?
Personal
Word.
for sure. The personal for sure. I mean.
I think we need to wrap it up.
I think it's absolutely personal.
Like to just,
I do think it's personal. How about a personal approach to government?
Yeah.
It's about
smiley face at the end?
What?
Smiley face,
a,
it's
so put a smiley face at the end, right? Yeah.
Well,
So
I'm trying
here's-
to give everybody on both sides.
Right, because it qualifies my opinion. It says like, Will feels this way, but really the merits of his argument don't hold up, we don't, like, why? Why
So-
have it? Just
Sometimes
strike
you
the
have an
second
argument
paragraph.
where Mayor didn't, I've been wrong in an argument, I got no problem saying that.
That's what your wife says all the time.
Exactly. I lost one.
I mean, I feel like we've covered everything else in the report. I don't know if that last paragraph is even necessary. I mean, I feel like, in summary, I think we've summarized everything in this last part of what, the extra stuff that was brought up. I think that that last paragraph just, it kind of throws something else in there that, wait, okay, so we need to explain that now. I don't know. Just my
Everyone
just my
has
2
an
cents.
opinion.
But don't you kind of cover it a little? I'm sorry, Paul. Let me interrupt you.
I'm sorry, I'll go ahead. I think everybody has I like the personal part because everybody had an opinion of this, and it says the majority of, and it has, and so it's personal. So it didn't make us dysfunctional, but is it a political issue for everybody?
We're talking about the
Some of these people believe that it was, some of it don't. I don't,
Are we talking about the whole report in this
No.
last one, or are we just talking about that
talking-
paragraph right above?
right above.
right above.
Okay,
We need to clarify that.
maybe so, maybe, because
The last paragraph on the document.
As
doesn't
expressed
kinda cover
desire.
that a little bit, like,
Yeah,
on the next page?
Possible
Am I reading it right?
considerations.
The commission unanimously agrees.
possible consideration, I mean.
Must be thoroughly vetted,
Yeah.
not driven by impetuous effort, absent full transparency. I know we talked about that. Look, man, we're at an impasse. We were very careful. Notice the word unanimous, unanimous, unanimous. The word majority means, I know we have varying opinions, even on this commission, right? That's why we use the word majority. I think what I hear the conflict here is with the idea of, we all agree, this is not about any personal attack upon any present elected official. But the backside is that what we've addressed in terms of, whether or not we'll consolidate, we're not consolidated, has to deal with, it is a personal opinion to an approach of government. So here would be to add, because to what Tim had said earlier. Substitute, right? Well, we never even seconded the.
So this would be.
So it is a substitute. The substitute would be, the majority of this commission agrees this position to be of personal opinion to the approach of government. It's a personal opinion. Everybody has an opinion. And that doesn't mean anybody's opinion's right or anybody's opinion's wrong, but we all have an opinion.
But you never say that ever, like, nowhere else does it say, this is just a personal opinion on any of the other issues, on the majority issues. Like, why now, suddenly, when it comes to the issue Will cares about, we quantify it, that it's just an opinion? That does not carry merit?
Well, I'll tell you, because we really wanted to work hard to produce one report and not have a minority report.
And we have that. I'm just like, strike this kind of hurtful last paragraph. Or add another paragraph that says, the minority of the commission feels that the city of Lafayette not having a mayor does not follow the tenets of basic democratic principles of which the United States of America was founded on.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So you were saying,
I mean, if we're gonna go with these kind of mean-spirited jabs at each other, then let's give us a paragraph.
Will, you want it to say the minority?
I would.
No, another paragraph.
Yeah, no, a
Oh,
third
separate
paragraph.
paragraph.
Yeah,
The
wouldn't be that
minority of the commission.
Wouldn't be
Okay,
that
I guess we have you amended the motion, so.
We have a motion, but there's no second yet. Who said second?
I thought I had one.
Yeah, we had one, but yeah.
Bob, you need a second?
No, Paul, you motioned it and Paul. Yes, I do.
No, that was the previous one.
Yeah.
This is a new one.
Bobby's motion on the floor.
Bobby amended your motion,
It's a substitute motion.
a substitute motion.
Which would read, the majority of this commission agrees this position to be of personal opinion to an approach of government.
So can I reject the substitute?
You just vote no on
Well,
it.
you can propose another amendment.
Another amendment.
You could,
Only if you get us here out of here by 5 o'clock this
I'll get us
afternoon.
out of here in 2 minutes if we just strike this last paragraph.
Well, there's a motion on the floor, right? So we have to have public input.
But did we have a second?
Yeah, Paul.
Oh, thank you.
I don't like that either.
Public input.
The
On
last,
the amendment?
So were we.
the last sentence, the last paragraph, under express desire. Currently.
Like merit, that assigns value, which means that your opinion is not as valuable as mine. Merit doesn't work for me, maybe there's another word, or leave it out.
Carry the majority, take merit, put majority.
I mean, there's merit in the democratic process.
Is this the last amendment that you want to make?
This is my last issue.
This is
Okay.
it.
okay, very
It
good.
ends on this.
So
Bobby,
it just seems as though,
It's a sticking point, so.
yeah, it is a sticky point, but it seems to me like the first decision we have to make is whether or not we would, because the first motion was that it would be struck. The second motion or substitute was that we change, and then I did a third motion, add personal opinion.
We need to strike.
I'm not exactly sure. Do we go with the third, or do we go back with do we have to go back with the first motion?
Well, I
strike?
think we'll.
I'm going to rely on.
Right now, the motion on the floor is to, the majority of this commission agrees this position to be of personal opinion to an approach to government. That's what's on the floor right now.
I feel like if this is a comprehensive report and every, you know, I think we've covered a lot. I think we've taken care of we've covered everything. I do feel like this one paragraph or one sentence, if it's taken out, is not going to change the whole meaning of the report. I feel like, and if it's a sticking point in that, because I do agree with, I don't like the wording either as I look at it closer in terms of merit and you know, all the other opinions. I mean, it's, you know, this is a report that we don't need to put that word opinion in there as much, or in there, in my mind. So I feel like striking it.
Well, that took the
makes
place
the
of
most
political.
sense. Right, yeah, I didn't like that one either, but.
Yeah.
Got another one?
No.
Well, I recommend taking personal and political preference out altogether, so. But that would be a good negotiating point.
I mean, I don't think taking the whole thing out is going to change the whole meaning of the document either.
Yeah,
I don't think it
know.
says, I don't think it says that anything that's that important other than a very, you know,
Got you, Nat.
it's a very gray statement.
Yeah, let's see if I can lead us forward. I just don't know, just for a point of rule of order here, right? Is it possible to go back and we contend with the first,
Yes,
just
sir.
take a vote on?
You can withdraw the motion that's
Yeah.
on the floor, and that was by Bobby Richard, I think, and
Yes.
Paul Eason. So if you, as the maker of that amendment, withdraw your request for the amendment, then we'll check with Mr. Eason and see if he is okay with your withdrawal. Then it goes back to the first motion.
Okay, so,
Yes,
so here's the point of order, right? So if we go back to the first, pending the outcome, we say, can we still amend amend what's there afterwards,
There was
right?
three amendments so far on this
Yes.
one topic.
So-
Mine, yours,
And Will's. Well, so what I'm saying, Veronica, is just a point of order. I want to make sure that we're doing this in order. So if we took a vote on Will's motion to strike that statement altogether, and it fails to pass, can there be another motion to amend?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. And I didn't have a second. I don't know if Joseph had for Tim's motion. Did he have a second? Do you have that? No. So we didn't have that as a motion.
I'll second that one.
Okay, so it would actually, I'm sorry. So it would actually go back to Tim's motion, and if he wants to withdraw his too, then we go back to the initial motion.
So let's just see where we stand with striking that. Tim, if you're okay with that. So I'll withdraw,
Okay?
right? Paul, you?
You're good with withdrawing? And then the second motion by Tim Bro is now on the table. Mr. Bro, would you like to withdraw your motion?
And to start all over again, is that what you want to do?
Yes.
Yes, I'll withdraw.
And Mr. Eason?
Yes.
Okay, so now we are back at the motion to strike the second paragraph in its entirety.
And it goes to Will.
I was going to
Let's
say,
go to Will.
if we basically just take that out and you read on to the possible consideration, it really kind of covers what the document and what we're trying to say. So I don't feel like by taking that out, it changes the final suggestion.
Yeah.
Just,
And I understand, and Nanette, I understand that. It is important to me that this is, and I'm okay, right? If I'm the odd, if I lose, I'm good. But it was important to me because it was my, all the time we spent together from the, like, this is it's personal opinion based upon the approach to government, what people want. So it's part of the conversation, and that's okay. So, but I'm okay, right? So the will of the commission will succeed on this thing. So let's just go back and see but I think Will needs a second to his motion, right? To strike, correct? And that's seconded. So do we have to go back to public comment on that?
no, we didn't strike his. Oh, we struck his too?
No, we didn't strike it, no.
Okay.
We struck it back to you guys.
The mo,
Went back
catch
to
that
y'all.
now?
Got it.
Went back to.
Public comment now. Call for the vote.
Public comment? No? Okay, very good. So what's on the table is that we strike this last paragraph. That's the motion that's there. Joe?
All right. Mr. Tabor?
No.
I like that.
Ms. Cook,
Yes.
Mr. Thielen,
Yes.
Mr. Morrison,
Yes.
Mr. Richard,
No.
Mr. Bro,
No.
Mr. Eason,
No.
Mr. Schilling. No. The motion to amend fails.
You're on the wrong side of it. Go sit over there.
All right, so
No, we worked hard on this.
we really worked hard, and I'm trying to say, I want to be able to, this is honest. This is the opinion of what's represented here, and I want to be honest across the board, and it's okay, right there, where we're at.
But can you?
Now, so yes. So now I motion that we amend that last statement to the majority of this commission agrees this position to be of personal opinion to an approach to government, of the personal, right?
I thought it was political.
Right.
No, we're taking out political.
taking
It's
out
just
political?
personal
It's just a
opinion.
Personal
Just a
opinion.
personal, taking
Okay.
the word political out.
Some citizens.
Did someone second? We didn't hear a second. You got
I hear.
Mr. Paul East. Okay, thank you.
The last sentence is out of
Heard you
it,
say citizens?
Bobby.
Citizens, so it doesn't sound so like,
Personal opinion.
I mean, because if we're taking
It's- and taking out
testimony,
political.
Yeah, took political out and a personal opinion.
Of a personal what?
well, I'm just
Second.
thinking,
You got a motion and a
personal
second, Bobby.
opinion
Got a
sounds like
second,
it's one
all right.
person.
I heard you. Public comment? Hearing no public comment, Joe? Did you call a vote?
Okay, Ms. Cook,
No.
Mr. Thielen,
No.
Mr. Morrison,
No.
Mr. Richard,
Yes?
Just
Mr.
because I
Bro?
say it.
Mr. Eason,
Yes.
Mr. Schilling,
Yes.
Mr. Tabor.
Yes.
Traitor on
Very
his
good.
side.
That,
Motion to amend
I
is
just wanted to
approved.
say no once.
the word majority is clearly in there.
Yeah, we got it.
Very good.
Got
Okay.
Anybody else?
Kevin's
Any
not
other
here.
discussion?
Do we have to make a motion to accept the report?
Yes.
Well,
Hold on.
I have another motion.
Okay, go ahead.
I would like to make a motion to add a third paragraph under an express desire that states, "The minority of this commission agrees that the city of Lafayette, not having complete influence in the election process of its mayor, does not follow the basic tenets and democratic values of the United States."
Give a second.
Got to have a second?
Second it? I'll second it. Just for discussion purposes.
Discussion?
Could you read that again for the record?
A third paragraph that says, "The minority of this commission agrees that the city of Lafayette, not having complete influence over the election process of its mayor, does not follow the basic tenets of the democratic process of the United States."
Thank you.
I think that's a fair statement, because really, at the end of the day, that's kind of where the one thing that I think, and Paul, if he'd be paying attention, he would agree, because that was one of the things we discussed, that was the fact that city residents only weren't allowed to vote for the mayor of Lafayette, just because of the way it's set up. And so I think that's a fair evaluation of the one thing that Paul agreed on. Right, Paul?
Yep, and I seconded your motion. Yeah, right.
Like, having this paragraph means I don't have to write
I guess you know what my answer is.
having this paragraph that isn't connecting itself to the majority, it's connecting itself to the minority, but having this paragraph communicates my values and opinions in this report and removes the need for me to have to write any sort of dissenting opinion to this. But I've got to have my view in this report. And I feel the first paragraph kind of did that, but we really stuck with the second, so then I want to add a third.
I'm not sure if you've ever played on a team. This is a CPA commission. It's our opinion together. You might be the minority, but it does not come out like that. It's the CPA commission.
No, but you do that in the second
No,
paragraph.
you don't, the commission comes out and says it. You don't have to
No,
delineate. I mean, I don't know
You
exactly.
single yourself out in the second
You
paragraph.
keep talking about yourself. You're worried about you. You said your name about 20 times today. I got to do this. William Thiel, this and that. I got to dissent. I've never even heard of you. So I don't think that the public knows you that well. Okay? And I mean,
Bobby.
talking about yourself
Yeah.
is, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it's okay, buddy. Let me intervene. So,
We got to vote.
yeah, let's,
I agree with you.
so, go ahead, Dan.
I was just going to say, I feel like we're getting lost in some of this stuff. I think we as a commission come together and and we each have an opportunity to express our opinion. And I think the report reflects that. I think for the most part, I think we, because I was on that committee, we put the information together and we did, the majority of the answers, and then we got compliments about how well some of them were answered. And I feel like at this point, if we are going to give a comprehensive report, there are going to be some difference of opinions that I think should be put in there. And you have. And so I think this is all he's asking is just that one more opinion to put it. It doesn't change the flavor of the whole thing. It doesn't. To me, it makes the report more comprehensive in that this is another, this particular viewpoint was also expressed, period. And then if we go to the next page, the last one, to me, this also summarizes in a very positive way, moving forward, how we can maybe look at some of these difference of opinions. I mean, I feel like, I think we all did a good job on this commission. I mean, I'm very honored to have served with every one of you. Yes, and I know I came in as the city person that nobody liked to begin with, but I feel like we all landed in a very good place with this. And I think that is just one of the places that I personally agree the fact that that was the only sticking point I had, is that at the end of the day, the city of Lafayette, not the Broussard resident could vote on my mayor, but the city of Lafayette residents vote on the mayor. And so that is all that particular statement that is being made at the end is saying. And I think by allowing that last statement, this last paragraph to put in there, that just reiterates that and it explains that's what that is.
It just explains to
It
me.
doesn't change the report.
It just explains the majority and then the minority. I mean, because we all committed, but we all don't have the same views. That's why we were put together, not to have the same views, just to talk about it and see if we could come around it, and we did. I mean, I think we had a great committee. We have some great views. I mean, we all had to yield at some point. We all had to yield. We didn't come in here trying to just get our point across. We yield and tried to find out what every else, because we all represent different people. All represent different people, and we want this to represent different people too. So that one statement would just represent, we got a majority statement and just a minority statement. Doesn't change anything. The flavor of the whole document is still the same.
And I think we all came in open-minded, I'm hoping, because I know I learned about, something I didn't even think about was funding for the parish based on population and grants and those kind of things. I understood that better as a result of this commission. So I feel like we all came in with an open mind, but we also, should respect everybody's final opinions, and how they fit in.
So,
I don't know how
So
you
we have a motion to add, what is your,
read your last.
I mean, it might be best if they read it, because I don't want to say
Veronica, can you
something
read it
different
again?
than what they have.
can you read the motion that's on the floor?
The motion that's on the floor by Will Teeley, second by Nanette Cook, is to insert a third paragraph, which is in reference to the minority, but I would have Will, because he had a whole paragraph.
It says, "The minority of this commission agrees that the city of Lafayette, not having complete influence over the election of its mayor, does not follow the democratic tenets of the United States."
Maybe we can reword that.
You want to reword it?
But that's what's on the floor. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what's on the floor.
We can make an amendment.
Maybe just take out that last, just that we feel like,
Make an amendment.
read it again?
The minority of this commission agrees that the city of Lafayette, not having complete influence over the election of its mayor, does not follow the democratic tenets of the United States.
Can we take out that last part and just say that we would like to have more control over our mayor? How does that word again? Take out the last part. Maybe that doesn't make sense. I need to look at it. You got something? You change.
Could you repeat what you would like to?
Read the very first,
Change.
read the very first part and stop before it says the democratic process thing.
Okay, so that would be an incomplete thought as follows.
Right.
The minority of this commission agrees that the city of Lafayette not having complete influence over the election of its mayor.
Period, not period, but followed by, is something we'd like to see happen in the future. Can we still talk future?
I mean, it's our minority opinion, so what do we want it to say?
I mean, I guess just, because that really has not, that specific issue was kind of touched on, but maybe the fact that, and of course, you do mention that in the sentence, in the paragraph that you quoted him about autonomy,
Yes, the
So
last
it's-
two paragraphs.
kind of already in there,
Yeah,
yeah? You think it's not in there enough right there? Because he quotes you.
that's under an express desire or will. A lack of democratic representation is the reason cited for this aspiration. I took
Okay.
that from you.
I feel like
That's
that,
under an express desire, Will.
What would, if we change the beginning of the sentence, of the first paragraph, that says, it has been clearly vocalized that there is an undeterminate number of City of Lafayette residents. What if we change that to say, the minority of this commission agrees the City of Lafayette should have a desire, a minority of this commission expressed in a desire for the City of Lafayette to have a greater.
That wouldn't be true, Will, because I am in the majority on this, and I am recognizing that that has been expressed to me. So to say a minority puts me out. I'm on board with that statement.
maybe we just
I've
put
heard
there is, take out the first part, put there is an undetermined number of city residents, take out it's been clearly vocalized. Because did they come to us with that? I mean, like, they didn't come before the,
City, yes,
Buddy's got a question.
Will's here, Bill's here, Protect the City Commission
Yeah.
spoke about that. Kevin came to speak about that. It was clear. They
A couple
come.
meetings ago, if I recall, that you said nobody's really knocking down your door regarding this, you know, so I think it still represents the minority very well. because
Correct.
You're an elected official, that's your constituents. And if you're not getting your door knocked down regarding this, then I think it's going to clearly state.
so it's, yeah, so even clearly
So-
vocalized is kind of an exaggeration.
So then,
This
if
is
the
not-
third paragraph says, the minority of this commission believes the City of Lafayette should have complete influence on the election of its mayor. Period. And we take out the kind of democratic value element to it.
We have a motion or second, but I'm trying to figure out what.
I think he's. I
Yeah,
think
that's
this-
not-
They keep removing the words,
Substitute
so.
amendment.
Thanks for
by
being
taking
patient.
out the
Thanks for being
democratic
patient.
process part of it.
Taking
Taking
that,
that
I think we're pretty
out.
much
That's a
just
little-
waiting to
yeah.
vote.
taking that out.
Thanks for being patient.
So while you say the majority, he's just putting one more that says the
I'm-
minority.
Yeah, we have a paragraph 2 says the majority, paragraph 3 says the minority of this commission agrees that the City of Lafayette should have complete influence in the election process of its mayor. End.
Okay, so that's,
That's the,
That will be my
Yeah.
substitute.
okay, do we have a second?
we can go, second that.
Nanette seconds that?
Any discussion on the other end about that?
No, we're just waiting
You
to
don't want to
vote.
discuss?
We're just waiting to vote.
Thought y'all were open minded.
Can you read it, Joe?
All right, so the motion is that a third paragraph would be added with a single sentence stating, the minority of this commission agrees that the City of Lafayette should have complete influence over the election process of its mayor.
And that's
That sounds good.
fair, right? It's not speaking for you, it's speaking for the minority.
Right.
Okay, let's call for the vote.
All right.
No, no.
There's a public comment.
Okay, sorry, my apology, Bill.
Hopefully, I'll save you some time and I won't have to take my 3 minutes. Has the population of Lafayette grown since 1996? Yes. Has it increased geographically since 1996? Yes. Are there more issues in the city of Lafayette since 1996? I would say absolutely. That's why I think we need a separate and distinct full-time mayor, okay, separate from the mayor-president. I don't think the parish is getting represented as well as it can be. I don't think the city is. And to Will's point, my right as a taxpayer for the city, lives in the city of Lafayette, I should have at least the possibility of voting on the possibility of voting for my own mayor, okay? It's hard for me to believe that any of you up there really believe that having someone in Broussard cast a vote for the mayor of Lafayette makes any sense at all. It's the form of government we have. It's a form of government that we elected, what we approved 25 years ago. We've talked about it as we've moved through, but it doesn't make any sense. I should not be able to tell Mr. Schilling where he can go on vacation. I can't be able to tell Mr. Tabor what he should charge for plumbing. Okay? I can't tell Mr. Eason anything because he doesn't listen to me. Okay? But here's the deal. Think about that, right? Think about just the basic understanding of what Will was trying to say, democratic government. Let the people who are going to be governed by this person vote on that specific, individual, separate person, and let two positions help focus on parish president on the parish, the mayor on the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bill. Just for a point of clarity to your comment, I want to remind everyone that this commission does believe that should the population tables turn, it's in our report, that a commission, charter commission be formed to explore a very creative idea that would be fair across the board without deconsolidating, and it would be the same, it's in the report, the same process that was used in the 1992 election would be used in the election of the mayor-president, which would mean that the city of Lafayette would have to carry, or the mayor candidate would have to carry both the city of Lafayette independently, as well as the parish of Lafayette as a whole in order to be elected mayor-president. So just a point of clarity. Thank you. So can we call for the vote?
Ms. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Tilley?
Yes.
Mr. Morrison?
Yes.
Mr. Richard?
Yes.
Mr. Burrow?
Yes.
Mr. Eason?
Yes.
Mr. Schilling?
Yes.
Mr. Tabor?
Yes.
Motion to amend is approved.
Was that the last discussion item?
He promised it was.
And I thank you for your vote.
Now that we have
So now we need to
several
vote
amendments, yes, sir, we
for the
need
whole.
to adopt the report as a whole with the amendments.
I make that motion.
Second.
Very good. Discussion, public comment? Call for the vote, Joe?
Mr. Tilley?
Yes.
Mr. Morrison?
Yes.
Mr. Richard?
Yes.
Mr. Burrow?
Yes.
Mr. Eason?
Yes.
Mr. Schilling?
Yes.
Mr. Tabor?
Yes.
Ms. Cook?
Yes.
Okay, the motion to amend, the motion to adopt the report, the draft report as amended is approved.
All right.
Hey,
I want to say something.
yeah, go ahead.
I just want to thank the committee members. I know y'all spent a lot of time on this, getting all our information and consolidating it, and for the 4 members that served, you know, I know what it takes to take the time out of your busy schedules. Appreciate it. Just want to tell you that publicly.
Good.
Thank you, Tim.
Good. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate that. And I also want to compliment Bobby on being a fine chairman. You did a wonderful job for us, and thank you very much for your work.
Thank you. Paul.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I know you're going to have to go back and pray on all this later, that you survived it, you know? Thank God for surviving in the commission.
I too want to thank Bobby. I actually want to thank everybody on the commission as a councilman on the parish side, and I definitely want to thank Bobby for chairing it. I think he did a great job. I know you put a lot more effort than you thought you were going to have to, or you wanted to, I should say. But your effort is appreciated, and I think we came up with a good solution and a lot of good answers.
I agree. If anything, there are things that have already been incorporated out of the discussion. Look, it is evident that this has been an emotional topic for some, right? But the ability to be able to navigate through the conversation and actually come up with things that are employed. I mean, they're actually put in place, like the allocations hearing, right, and whatnot. So I think it's a good deal. And everybody volunteered. Nobody got paid to do this, right? So, I mean, my God. Yeah.
I'd like to say one thing. Thank y'all. Really enjoyed it, learned a lot. But I would ask that, I'm a big proponent of not looking at a result. How can I get better no matter what? And have we ever looked at why people are moving out of Lafayette? Like, what's the reasoning? Have we ever surveyed them? Again, I mean, yes, people are moving out to Broussard, Youngsville, but why? Let's dig into that. What can Lafayette do to attract people to come back? Yeah.
Very
Let's be proactive.
We're working on.
Good comment. We're working on it.
I'm curious.
Traffic is one issue. Traffic is an issue.
Traffic.
Paul said traffic.
New housing,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, new housing.
New housing.
Youngsville's
That's the
a
key.
traffic
More,
issue.
yeah,
New
more
housing.
space
People
out
want new
here.
houses.
Also, we've got to mention that, Purvis is our vice chairman, too.
Yeah,
For serving as our vice chairman.
Oh, hey.
Oh, yes.
Look, I
So we can't
appreciate
leave the
it.
vice,
Absolutely.
because when it hits the fan and he's not here, it's on your.
Yeah,
on
but
your
thank God you was here every time. Thank you, Bobby. And like everyone's saying, I echo everybody, and look, working with you guys, always good. Good quality people of the community. When they said the names, I say, hey, I know every last one of these guys and women. And, I mean, I knew it was gonna be some feelings, but hey, I know we could,
That's what it's all about.
we could work through
Democratic way.
things. So, I mean,
passionate.
that was a good thing.
Very good. Have we said all? Meeting adjourned.
So is this, no more meetings after this?
There is another item on the agenda as to where we go from here, and you might want to present it during a council meeting. I don't know, a parish council meeting, your report, your final report.
Sorry. Yes, it's up to the council. If they want us to come and present, we'll present. Otherwise, I think the next thing is to submit the document as written to all the city and parish councilmen, right?
We're gonna have to accept it as a parish council, right?
It'll have to be.
How's that gonna
No,
work?
it's,
Didn't we
the
do
way
a
it was done before, it was just presented, they presented it to the city council, and then the city council put them on an agenda to present it during a council meeting.
Yeah.
Well, I think we at least need to do a resolution, letting the public know that we accepted it as a commission, and maybe have Bobby just speak on it for a little bit.
I feel like we did a resolution for the city committee, didn't we?
I don't recall, Joseph, no.
We didn't?
Well, that's why I recommend we do a resolution and just,
What would the resolution be?
just to make this a public, which it is, and just for the record, I mean.
Okay.
Or just,
Okay,
can we
we
put on
can-
the
we could-
website? Just put the document on the website?
That was gonna be my point, like, when the report is finalized with our amendments, if there's no objection to me putting it on our website, LafayetteCPACommission.com, and
Oh,
public,
that's the final, so yeah.
and public can see it.
And on the
And you're gonna
LCG
keep that up, so
website, too.
we can direct any public to that website.
Yeah, my
the future.
intentions are to keep the website going, so the public can see our work.
And the chair could, if perhaps a suggestion is just to type an email with the report attached and all copied to the members submitting it to the parish council.
Okay.
And if you let us know when they present to the council, so we can be here also.
For
the members.
So the next step is, Joe, when we get the final document,
Right.
I'll send it out to all of you, as well as we'll email it to all the councilmen as well.
Right.
Correct.
And yes, well, I think it's very good, because we don't need the council's approval for a resolution.
No.
So as soon as you get it,
Okay.
you're free to put it up on the website.
All right.
Very good.
Okay,
Is that it?
that's it.
Okay, before I address myself a second time, right?
Just keep that thumb out
Y'all
your way.
good?
Well, just one more thing. I just wanted to thank Joseph, I know for the
Yes,
subcommittee
yes,
meetings.
yes,
Yeah.
Joe.
I know, like like I was in and out of the subcommittee
man behind the
meetings,
scenes
and
to get things
Joseph,
done.
I mean, he put all of those opinions and everything that the committee was throwing at him, he was able to.
Yes.
And then spit it back out into.
Let's mention nationally recognized Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you, Veronica.
Yeah, thank y'all.
Take care, man.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Bobby, always good to see you.
Yes, indeed.
Scott, you good? Hey, you good?
Good seeing you.
Yes. Matter, we'll holler at you at the church. Matter, holler at you at the church. We'll holler at you.
Let's get a picture, guys. Let's get a picture. Come on.
Let's go to the picture.
Get us a picture, we'll get it together. Hey, Paul? Dean, would you take a picture for us?
Yeah, he was looking at me. I see you looking at me. Oh, sure, yeah, that's a great idea.